Welcome back to Auto Vista, where classic muscle meets modern passion. Today, we're taking a ride back to the golden era of American muscle cars to talk about one of the most iconic and ferocious machines of its time, the 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle 396. A car that didn't just look mean, it was mean. Brutally fast, unmistakably stylish, and packing serious power under the hood, this was the car that defined street dominance in the early 70s. Now when we talk about classic muscle, the Chevelle SS is a name that immediately commands respect. The 1970 model year is often considered the peak of the Chevelle's performance evolution, and the 396 big block V8 engine was a key part of that legend. While the 454 got most of the spotlight with its raw horsepower, the 396 offered a more balanced approach, still blisteringly quick but with just a bit more finesse. The first thing that strikes you when you lay eyes on the 1970 Chevelle is the aggressive styling. That dual headlight setup, the broad, squared-off front grille, and those bold SS stripes running along the hood and decklid, it's pure intimidation. The muscular fender flares, the sculpted body lines, and the rear end with its quad taillights, everything about the design screams power and presence. It's not just a car, it's a statement. Whether it's pulling up at a stoplight or cruising down the highway, this Chevelle commands attention like few others. Under the hood of the SS 396, you had a choice of several versions of the 396 cubic inch big block V8. The most common was the L34, which pumped out a solid 350 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque. But if you tick the right boxes, you could step up to the L78 version, which cranked out a blistering 375 horsepower at 5,600 RPM and 415 pound-feet of torque at 3,600 RPM. And that's say gross horsepower, not the net ratings you see today, so in real-world terms, these numbers felt even more potent. What makes the 396 so special is its versatility. It wasn't just about straight-line speed, though it had plenty of that. The engine had a throaty, aggressive tone that could shake the pavement, and yet it was refined enough to be driven daily. Matched with a 4-speed Muncie manual transmission or the optional turbo Hydra-Motich 400 automatic, it delivered smooth but commanding shifts. Add a 12-bolt rear axle and optional pause traction, and you had a drivetrain built for serious performance. Let's not forget the sound. The deep, thunderous rumble of the 396 is the stuff of legend. Whether you're standing behind it or sitting in the driver's seat, there's nothing quite like the roar of an American 5.8 breathing through dual exhausts. It's mechanical music, raw, unfiltered, and addictive. Inside the Chevelle, things were simple but functional. You had classic bucket seats with optional center console, a clean dashboard layout, and enough chrome trim to remind you that this wasn't your average family car. The SS trim included a special instrument cluster with a round speedometer and optional tachometer, giving you everything you needed and nothing you didn't. Sure, by modern standards it's basic, but that's part of the charm. It's driving in its purest form, no screens, no distractions, just you, the machine, and the road ahead. What made the 1970 Chevelle SS 396 a true street legend wasn't just the numbers, it was how it made you feel. The moment you turned the key, you could sense the car's readiness, the way the engine roared to life and settled into a loping idle, like a muscle-bound beast waiting to be unleashed. Get it on the open road, drop the hammer, and it surged forward with brute force. That surge of torque, the screech of the tires, the rush of acceleration, it was thrilling, visceral, unforgettable. But the Chevelle wasn't just about speed. It handled better than you might expect from a big block muscle car. With power steering, front disc brakes, and a solid suspension setup, it was more than capable of holding its own in the corners. Sure, it wasn't a sports car, but for a mid-size American coupe weighing over 3,500 pounds, it delivered confidence and control. 1970 was also a pivotal year because it marked the loosening of GM's restrictions on engine size for intermediate cars. Prior to that, GM limited engines to 400 cubic inches in these mid-size models. But in 1970, the floodgates opened, and while the 396 had been around since the mid-60s, it got one final hurrah before being replaced by the 402 later that year, even though Chevrolet continued to badge it as a 396 for branding purposes. Production numbers for the 1970 Chevelle SS 396 were strong. Out of nearly 447,000 Chevelles built that year, about 53,000 carried the SS 396 badge. That's a decent number, but they're getting rarer every year, especially ones with original drivetrains and factory documentation. Today, collectors are willing to pay top dollar for clean, matching numbers examples. And it's no wonder. This car represents the best of what American muscle was all about: style, speed, and presence. One more thing to love about the Chevelle 396 is its place in car culture. It's appeared in countless movies, TV shows, and even video games. It's been immortalized in die-cast models, posters, and garage walls across the world. Ask any car enthusiast to name the most iconic muscle cars of all time, and the 1970 Chevelle SS is guaranteed to make the list. For those lucky enough to own one today, it's not just a car, it's a rolling time machine. A link back to an era when power came easy, fuel was cheap, and Detroit was building some of the most exciting vehicles in the world. It's no exaggeration to say the 1970 Chevelle 396 is more than metal and rubber, it's history, heritage, and horsepower all rolled into one. So if you're a fan of American muscle, or you've just got a soft spot for classic V8s that rumble like distant thunder, the 1970 Chevy Chevelle 396 deserves your attention. It's a car that lives up to the legend, and then some. Thanks for riding with us today on Auto Vista. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the greatest muscle cars ever built, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell so you never miss a new upload. We've got more legends coming your way. Until next time, keep your hands on the wheel and your heart in the throttle.